All right, hey everybody, this is another episode of Off the Beaten Path podcast. I am Bobby Stevens. We are here with Nate Stevens tonight.
And we got Choby in the building. How you doing, man?
Hello, hello. I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me here.
Thanks for coming on, man. It's beautiful. So you're from Brazil, correct?
Yes, so I lie a little because Brazilian is more exotic, but I was born in Mexico, but I always felt more Brazilian.
Okay.
And
Well, what was life? What was life like growing up in Mexico?
man, it's a little bit weird because I had a Brazilian mother and a Mexican father, so I had a notion of what was out of Mexico, and there is still a lot of patriarchal thinking in Mexico. Like for example, in my family, woman always did the food, woman always washed the dishes, and Brazil was a little bit more ahead in some factors that I think we don't see because we're in there. So also I had to wear certain clothes to be elegant and fancy. Maybe that was my family. And in Brazil, it was like just be whoever you want to be. That's what I always felt. So I always felt more free as a Brazilian and in Brazil. So yeah.
Def- Definitely understandable. And so, what's life like in Brazil? You know.
Oof. Yeah, it's for me, it's great. I love the people. Like there is a charisma that you don't find anywhere else in the world, you know? And I think everyone knows it. Everyone says Brazil and they're, oh, samba, beautiful woman, and all these things. And it's very similar to those things. It's a little stereotypical, but yes, people are really fun. People are really joyful, but there is also a very dark side of insecurity and a lot of thefts, a lot of robberies, and all those things that come in Brazil.
And do you think a
Right.
lot of the
Right.
charisma is kind of a coping mechanism because of the dark side, or do you think both of them exist independent of one another?
You know what? We make a lot of fun of everything, and yes, like I don't know if the president does something, like we make fun of it, and if this that and I think always jokes hide like a lot of pain inside of us, and uh, and I think yes, in a lot of ways, Brazilians do have like a very sensitive side that they joke around to not get to it sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Definitely understandable. I know when I
Yeah.
think of, I don't know if you're into the MMA or UFC, but when I think of Brazil, like if you look up the top 10 fighters of each weight class, it's always like three or four Brazilians in there. So that's what I think of when I think of Brazil.
Yeah, yeah, no, I've watched a little bit, and it's great to see. But then I'm like, poor guys, you know, like getting paid to beat each other up. Like in a way, I'm like, damn, it's tough.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
definitely a tough life.
and I look at it, sometimes because I'm a big fan of the UFC, so I look at it and sometimes I just take a step back and I'm like, we are cheering for someone to get bloodied and beaten. Like, that's crazy.
It's very weird, and they love it, you know, and it's like
Hmm.
it's their passion. So like, I don't know. There's we always love pain. I don't know, in weird ways. We love to love, and that brings a lot of pain. I don't know. I think all humans love, but different ways of pain.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely true. And even back to like fighting, that's been going on for ages and ages. It used to be
Hmm.
actually like fighting until the death and things of that nature. But what was your childhood actually like? Like, when did music become something that you wanted to get into?
So yeah, I don't know. It took me a while to figure the music thing out because I wanted to be an actor, and I will confess just for this podcast that I was in a lot of plays like High School Musical, and
Oh, wow.
man, I'm not ashamed to say I was Ryan. I wasn't Troy Bolton, and I was like, I want to be Troy Bolton. I want to be,
Uh,
and I didn't get the part because I was too small and chubby, and like,
oh,
come on,
man.
yeah, it was like, come on, you're not gonna be Troy Bolton, you know, and. And yeah, I wanted to be an actor basically. And then I said to be a complete actor, I want to play music. And then when I was 16, I went to take guitar classes. And then I was like, okay, this is what I want to do with my life. So that
Wait a
was kind
minute.
of the time.
So, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
No, no, I'm 27.
And you picked up a guitar at 16.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
your music, like your musical skills and knowledge of music, and just playing for 10 or 11 years, like that. a lot of people don't reach that, until 15 or 20 years, but you can tell
Yeah.
that you practice every day. And if you skip a day, you probably beat yourself up about it.
Yeah, I'm never satisfied, you know? Like everybody always says to me, like, you play great. I'm never satisfied. I'm never okay with my playing, and I enjoy it a lot, but also have this dark side in me that I hate my
Mm.
playing at the same time, you know? I think we all have at a certain point, maybe. I don't know you.
Yeah, for me, like when I was doing music,
Yeah.
I enjoyed playing as much as like when I was working on a project. But once I was finished with the song or finished with the album, it wasn't as enjoyable. I
Mm,
enjoyed playing the music live for like a performance in front of a crowd,
yeah.
but it's like the process that's the fun part. But once you're done, it's just like, but I could have done this, or I could do this, or it could be better, and you're
Yeah.
always striving for more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And do you?
and oh, go on.
I was gonna say, do you also have other musicians or actors in your family, or if not, what inspired you to go down that path?
Man, I really don't know. Like in my family, there's no really musical, and that's sometimes what I think. Like, man, imagine if I was like Victor Wooten and started playing with 2 years, like what would have happened? But and I had like a great grandmother that was an actress in Mexico, and she got kind of famous, and my grandfather too, but my great grandfather. But I never actually met him and never really knew about them until I was grown up. So not really a connection, direct connection.
And speaking of Victor Wooten, we saw on Instagram that you've met him before.
Man, I worked at the Berkeley-based department, and I saw him every month, and he talked to me about life every month. So it was unbelievable for me seeing him every day, and he's pure knowledge. He's a light in this world. Like I cannot describe him as anything else.
That is so beautiful, man, because I don't think we've mentioned, but we're brothers and we both play bass.
Yeah,
So we look up to Victor Wooten. So when I saw that picture, I was like, oh, wow. But to hear that story, that you actually got to speak to the man, see him a lot, get knowledge from him, like
yeah.
I don't even have to ask. I know that impacted you, and stuff that he said and his energy is going to stay with you for forever.
For sure, and it's something that all bass, like I haven't met one bass player that doesn't talk about Jacko or doesn't talk about Victor Wooten. You know, for all of us, it's a reference. And since I'm a kid, since I was 13, I saw him. I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, sorry, can we say
Yeah,
bad
yeah, you
words?
can say whatever you
Yeah, man,
want.
we're grown boys. You can say whatever you want.
I don't know. I wanted to keep it PG for you both, but
No, say whatever you want. I'm drinking a beer right now.
so yeah, I saw him since I was 13, and like for me it was insane to actually like meet him and meet my idols, and that just humbled me for life, and not to take also shit from anybody, you know, because if my heroes are talking to me like a human being and a person and a regular person, like why should someone talk to me in a different way, you know? So I don't know. I think we sometimes have this like when you're famous, you can say anything to me and I'll take it, and it's not really that way. They showed me that you can be at any level of playing, and you need to be humble for sure.
That's good. Yeah, because and what people say is never meet your idols or never meet your heroes because that person might be an asshole and then you just lose all respect for them. But the fact
Yeah,
that you got to meet one of your idols and someone
yeah,
that you really look up to and they spoke to you just like you're a normal human being because you are, that really showed you like, okay, that means when I get famous I'm gonna do the same thing. And if somebody on a higher level tries to speak down to me, I'm not gonna take it because
of
I
course.
know how you're supposed to carry yourself.
Of course, yeah, they're just so humble. I met John Patitucci too, you know, like it's like insane, and they're just so extremely nice, you know. I saw him every month, John Patitucci, eating a sandwich in front, and just devouring it because he was so hungry. And I was like, damn, this guy gets mustard in his shirt, you know, like just like me.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah, and I
insane.
guess. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
I was gonna say, working in the bass department, did you get to meet Danny Mo Morris and get to work with him?
Yes, like another, like, ah, man, like again, like Berklee is great because of the bass department. Like there's not one person there that's not a great human being. I don't know what's with bassists, man, that they're just great people, you know? Because all the dicks I think are guitarists, and I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was
But
told when I was younger that the bass players are the ones in the band that have the biggest heart. So we're the most feeling and most loving type of the musicians, I guess.
but it's insane. Like the bass department really taught me that because they're doing it at the highest level as bass players as we can do, and playing with all the greatest, and they're just so humble all the time and just so loving and giving with the information. Like insane.
That's awesome, man. It really
Yeah.
is. And speaking of like the bass department, you said that you started off by picking up a guitar and getting guitar lessons.
Hmm.
When did you move to bass?
So it's typical story of bad guitarists. I wasn't good enough, and I had to be the bassist. You know, it wasn't like I love the bass. I will admit that I just came and then I loved it, and I was in love with it, and never and took it all the way down.
That makes
So
sense. That makes
yeah.
sense.
What
Yeah.
about you guys? How did you get into bass?
We both have kind of the same story. Picked up guitar first,
Yeah.
and every band was basically filled with a guitarist. So every band needed either like a drummer or a bassist. And
Yeah.
we picked up a bass, and same story as well, fell in love with it.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
hated it at first. The Christmas that we got it, I had just turned 15, so
Yeah.
we started playing about the same time. And my dad got us two guitars. So Nate had a guitar, I had a guitar, and
Yeah.
also a bass.
Yeah.
We never touched a bass. I was like, that one's kind of boring. Like it doesn't sound the same. You don't put effects on it.
Yeah.
Little did I know you can. And it only has 4 strings, so like, why the hell would I want to play that one? This one over here is cool. Like the girls like it. You can be famous. You got guitar solos. Little did I know you can be
Yeah.
a solo bass player. But yeah, same thing. Every band I tried out for, everybody had guitars, but
Yeah.
nobody owned a bass. Like just in our area, like people didn't have basses for some reason. So
For
to be
sure.
in a band and have it be cohesive, we just kind of gravitated towards the bass. And I
Hmm.
love it now. Like I'll never go back. I want to learn other
Yeah.
instruments, but when it comes to strings, like I want the deep, I want it heavy.
For sure, man. It's the best feeling. I'm glad we're
And,
all bassists here.
Yes.
and speaking of what Bobby just mentioned, wanting to learn other instruments, are there any other instruments that you play besides bass and guitar?
Yeah, yeah. I play a little drums. I can dribble on that. Like again, I'm not great, and I had to do piano lessons because I did composition at Berklee, and I can dabble. You know, I cannot do a gig, but I can play a little. And I love percussion, man. I'm learning to play the tamborin. That it's just like little. If you guys know that in Brazil we use
Right.
for, and yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, cool. And speaking of like playing gigs, of course, COVID has stopped most of that from happening. Were you playing a lot of? I noticed you've played gigs, but were you playing a lot of gigs before COVID happened, or were you more so working on a project?
No, not really. I was in Chile. I was working in a studio. I was directing there a studio and the activities. So then I just got to Chile and I was starting to meet people and I was starting to go to the capital because I was a little bit far away in Viña del Mar, it's called. And the place is called Casa Abstracta. It's a beautiful studio. And yeah, I wasn't really doing, I was creating gigs in Chile because they had a space to do it.
Hmm.
And then everything got fucked up when I was there. So then I just decided to leave.
Okay, cool. And so we're gonna get to Berkeley and touch a little bit on that because we've mentioned it, here and
Yeah,
there throughout.
yeah, yeah.
But so from Mexico, like to call yourself a Brazilian,
Yeah,
and then you study in Berkeley. But I saw that you actually played in Madrid.
yeah.
What led up to you playing there?
So I went and did my master in Valencia, that they have a campus, and there I got the opportunity to play in I forgot the name, the Conservatory of Madrid, the Auditorio Nacional. That
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
one of That's it, the Auditorio Nacional, and that was all because of Berkeley. Really, it wasn't
yeah.
me, and we got the chance to play there, and I played my own music. It was really really nice.
Yeah, the I guess auditorium, it looked beautiful, and you were playing with actual like a band behind you, or what would you call that? Would you call that a band?
Yeah, yeah, like it was the people that I met in my masters, and basically they're amazing musicians, all of them. And we made this. They recorded a lot of the songs I'm releasing now, and it was just really really nice. The only problem is that these auditories are made for classical music, so
Right.
then putting like electric bass and a drum set, like that shit is tough, to get it right, to sound well.
Yeah, I bet it. Yeah, I could only imagine. Like having to deal with the reverb and all of that, and yeah, man.
Yeah, that
So
shit's hard to get.
I could only imagine. So Berklee, your
Yeah,
dream school, and
yes.
let's talk about what led up to you actually being able to get to Berklee. And I'm just gonna mention a little bit. You slept on the couches for 2 years, so like obviously you had a dream. You went through with it. You hustled. You
Yeah,
sacrificed. Let's
yeah.
talk about what led up to you actually being able to get there, and then your time there.
Cool. So, yeah, I knew that I wanted to be in Berkeley because it's a very bizarre story that I still don't understand now. That I was playing one of my first gigs in Mexico, and this like dude from nowhere with this like blue intense eyes comes to me from nowhere and says, "You need to go to Berkeley." And I was like, and he left like that. He just said, "You need to go to Berkeley," and left. Like, you can call it whatever. I took it like a fucking signal and I went for it. I was like, this is an angel that came to say something to me. I don't know. I took it that way. And since that day, like in my mind, it was like, I need to go there. So, like, I looked for bin schools. That's how they are called. It's schools that you can do 2 years in schools, and they're like all over the world. Like, there's in Israel, there's in Brazil, there's in Mexico. And then I looked for them in Mexico, and I saw that there was one called Fermata, and but then they lost the partnership. So then I looked in Brazil to see if there was one, and there was one that was called Sosa Lima, and then I went there. So basically, what led there was that guy actually. A little weird.
That's that is a crazy story. Like you said, call it what you want. Call it a sign. Call it God, an angel. The universe,
Yeah,
whatever it
yeah,
was, whatever you believe in. Obviously, that sent you a signal and was like, "Hey, let's go to Berklee. You need to go there, bud."
yeah. That was kind of it. And like this dude was like so angelic. I don't know. I don't know.
Man,
And from nowhere, I think I'm exaggerating, but there was smoke, there was all these things, and he
He
just
fell
came out
from the
with a white
sky.
robe, like with these fake angel wings.
oh
Yeah,
man,
and that your time in Sosa Lima. So, what was that like?
Amazing. Like before, when I was 20, I think I didn't understand what was to be a musician because I just played Red Hot Chili Peppers and that was it. Like I didn't know anything else in my life. And then I actually got there and it was only Brazilian music and jazz. I've never played jazz. I've never like really played Brazilian music. So I sucked at everything I did there. And that was like the moment I saw like, damn, like to be a musician, you need to really work hard. And that's when I really started studying, like really, really, when I was 20, I started like doing stuff that built your skills. So
that's
yeah, it was
nice.
amazing.
That's nice, and yeah, that's a great story because you come from only playing a certain kind of music,
Mm,
and one if you were playing bass in Red Hot Chili Peppers, and that's a really good basis to learn from, which is Flea,
of course.
But then going to a school and doing your thing, but not knowing anything, so you have to be taught. So that's a humbling experience in itself.
Yeah, because I remember like I played BYOB by System of a Down and I felt a badass. I felt like, man, I got
Yo,
this. I'm gonna be famous. I know we all felt that, and I could sing and play at the same time. Like, man, look at me, I'm a god at the bass. And then like you get to another place and you're like, okay, I'm so far away, so far away.
That's great though. That's great. We all need those humbling experiences to knock us down a level and say, "Hey, wait a minute." One of my favorite lyrics in the song is, "I'm humbled by breaking down."
Mm,
So I just look at that in like your way, or maybe in the financial way of,
mm,
man, I had money and I was eating steak every day. Now I
mm.
don't have the same money I do. I have to eat
Yeah,
ramen noodles every day. So just like your experience, like it sounds like you went through a lot of humbling experiences throughout
yeah.
your time. And how long did you study in Berkeley for?
I studied about 2 to 3 years because I wanted to double major, but then it was impossible for me to do that because the school didn't want to pay for it, basically. Like,
Mm,
and then I did 2 3 years. It was really great, but really tough. And then the greatest thing came that was afterwards in Valencia. That's where I really had the time of my life, I guess, to say until
okay.
now.
Yeah, and
Okay, nice.
playing in those very old buildings, what was the feeling like? Not just the acoustics, but they have like a very spiritual or like old feeling to it, where you could like feel the people that came before you that had played there.
Yeah, I remember entering the building for my first time, and I remember everyone had their like parents with them to like show them, and my mom couldn't come because it was too expensive. And I remember you feel a little lost because you're like, man, like so far away, another culture, another people, and then I just went in there and like heard like 10,000 pianos playing, and you just see those practice rooms there, and it's just like, man, like I'm home, like I felt this joy. And Berkeley is just like an amazing place at the same time as a like terrible place, and everyone has their ups and downs. But yeah, I don't know if I felt the buildings actually to say, but I felt like the energy of being around so many musicians.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And you have the concept album that you're coming up with
Mm.
is gonna be 9 songs, and I might say the name wrong. Siricumbia. Was I close?
Not really, but I really like the try, man.
Okay, do you mind saying it for us?
Yes, of course, but I really enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna name it like that now.
Siricumbia.
Yeah.
One of my
It's
favorite parts of this podcast is when Nate and I just do like solos, like one on one, and
yeah.
he tries to pronounce something that's difficult to pronounce. Like we always have a good time, man. It's so funny, and he gives it his best shot, but it's always so funny when he falls up a little bit short.
No, no, he says it with like confidence. I love
Oh, he
it.
Yeah,
does
Like,
man.
too. I'm
yeah,
convinced that's what it should be now.
yeah,
Yo.
I'm like, damn, why did I name it the other way? You just stuck to my mind right now.
Okay, before you actually say it, you
Yeah.
made up this word.
Yes, I made it up, and basically it comes up because always that I do a song, always a melody comes up, and I say syllables like pira parero para parara, and then I name the song Pira Parero, and then I say okay
Right.
after I think of
Mm.
a name. But in this case, the song came like Siricumbia.
Okay. So you just said it for us.
Yes, I
That's
just said it. Sorry, I messed up that entrance.
Hey, that's
no,
beautiful,
man.
man.
That's
I love that concept.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I just think that I learned to the thing that I maybe I'm not the best bass player technically because you see people that have like this amazing talent or play so fast or have this amazing groove, but I think the thing that I think that makes me special is that I combine my personality with my playing, and that's what I'm happy about, and that's what I think like and that's kind of a songwriter's vibe, that it doesn't matter how hard you can play your guitar, it's about how you can craft the song and the originality and these things. So I think I englobe a lot about that to like compensate for a lot of things that I don't have as a player.
no, that's great because I like that you say that because some of the best songs in any genre are really simple songs. They
Mm,
might be really easy to play,
mm-hmm.
but it's not always about how good it is, how well it's constructed, how it's crafted, how it hits the listener's
For
ears.
sure, for sure.
And what it makes you feel. So, speaking of that, you mentioned, or I saw that you mentioned that this album is going to talk about a lot of things, and one
Yeah,
of the things is unfortunately about the death of your father.
yeah, yeah.
And when did you lose him?
I lost him when I was 16,
Mm,
about there, like 16, 15, and it was really, we never expected it. And it's those things you say, man. It just humbles you down, you know. It just tells you, like, man, any day it happens, you know.
mm-hmm.
And but at the same time, I don't. As time passed, I don't see it like something bad. I try to see death as something good at a certain point. He never would have let me be a musician. And in this sense, I don't want you to think like, oh, I'm glad he died. Like, no, like every day I miss him. And but I don't know, things happen for a reason, you know. And it would have been really tough. We would have had a lot of friction because he didn't want me to be a musician. He wanted me to study something else and then study music.
Right.
So it gave me a sense of meaning, and it directioned my life in a way. And that's something you just see like years and years after. And now that it's been like 11 years, like it's okay to talk and you feel good and you feel that it made sense, you know, in your life.
Yeah, I get that 100% because we lost our mom 10 years ago, I think. And
Yeah.
in my eyes, everyone deals with death differently, but in my
Mm,
eyes, I tell people, I'm glad she's dead. And they're like, what? And from my perspective, it's like death is beautiful
mm,
because life is beautiful, but life also has hardships, it has heartbreak, it has rough times, and she never has to deal with that anymore. So, in your way, I'm glad that you can find death as a beautiful thing because, one, like you said, it humbles you down and makes you realize it can happen at any second because ours was unexpected as well.
yeah.
But also, you get to see other beautiful things of we would have had friction. Everything happens for a reason, and you wouldn't
Mm.
be where you are right now if he were still alive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, for sure, man. And it's nice to like also hear it from your side and hear it from other people because yeah, I think there's like in Mexico we take it as a joke. There's Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, you know, that we
Right?
joke
Yeah.
around with this and it seemed like and I think there needs to be a little more talk about this because like people just feel they need to grieve, you know, and it's stages, you know. Of course it hurts, man. It's someone so close and getting used to a routine without that person, it takes time. But at the same time, it's what you say, like it's beautiful and it's so natural that it's insane for me that we take it so harshly, you know. It is what
Yeah.
it is, but it's insane for me that it's something that we know it's gonna happen, you know.
Exactly. We all know it's coming. We just
Yeah,
don't know when it's coming and when it happens to someone we love. I tell people, I would never say this about someone else's grief
of
or
course, of
feelings,
course.
but with mine, I'm like, isn't it selfish that I'm sad because yeah, I'm gonna be sad if someone dies and they're close to me. I'm gonna be sad and I'm gonna deal with it how I deal with it. But
Mm,
isn't it selfish after that for me still to be sad because it's always I
yeah,
miss talking to them. I miss seeing a smile on their face. I miss, and it's like, wait, that's selfish, and that's just the way
yeah.
I look at it for myself.
No, that is deep, bro. I really respect that. And yeah, I think also like when someone dies, we like stop seeing all their mistakes and all their negativity and all
Yeah,
the like sadness they passed because like my dad wasn't happy. Like that's just the truth in his
right.
life. And it is like a libertation, you know, from all this like human emotions we have. Like it's just this freedom of not having to deal with the unsatisfaction of he had problems with his body, with his mind, with everything. He was like he had a I think bipolar disease that was never treated. So like he
Mm,
was a very hard person to deal with. And I think that also like at the same time that you I will always love him and will cherish him and he was so generous and so happy. At the same time there's a lot of shortcomings that we just forget to see when the person dies and say like he was a saint, and that is
yeah,
not truth. And that is what the song talks about, that my mom and my dad suffered so much in their marriage, and it's like putting it there, it's very tough feeling to say, like to tell your mother or to tell your father or your family that there were these negative sides, and I wanted to touch that thing, and I remember recording it. I cried I cried, and I couldn't, because it's imagine singing it to your mom, like he made you unhappy or did this or that, like. But I think that's what music about, and I think that's and I think what you're doing is beautiful, of seeing it that way, and changing the perspective of death, and seeing it many different ways.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, and I see it beautiful as the way that you put it and the way that you think about it. And
Mm,
I'm also glad that you have an outlet to do that, because some people might have the same feelings as you do.
mm,
And not only maybe it was beneficial or therapeutic for you to write about it and then put it on record, it might help out 5, 10, you know, 5 or 10 people, or 5 or 10,000 people one day with that
yeah,
song and telling your experience the way you see it.
yeah, for sure, totally agree, man.
And let me ask
Hell
you
yeah.
this. I don't want. Well, no, we'll stay on. I was about to say I don't want to stay on it too long, but we'll stay on it as long as we feel like there's conversation. But for me, when my mom passed, being
Yeah.
a young person, I feel like we think so much about life and we don't think about getting old and passing. So when she passed away when I was 24, that was the very first time I thought about my own death
Mm.
and really contemplated on what I wanted my life to be. Do you feel like when your dad passed, that was a turning point for you in how you perceive life differently, even as a young man?
Yeah, I think one, it made me take when you're the oldest son, I don't know who of you is the oldest, and maybe it's different because it was your mom, but like when my father died, like the first thing that my uncle told me was like, now you're the man of the house.
Yo.
And you're like, bro, come on, I'm 16. I don't know
Yeah.
how to clean my ass, I'm still working that out. So like, yes, it brutally changed, like a lot of the maturity that I had was because of it. And like when I saw people in high school like say some things, I was like, man, that's no issue at all. And I think that changes, that your perspective of what is a problem is like elevates like 10,000 way up, like what
Mm-hmm.
was a problem before, now it's like things can be worse. And it turned my life to go to Brazil. So like that was kind of the turning points. I took like a responsibility with my mom, with my sister, emotionally thinking that I was like the man of the house, and it turned my life to go to Brazil and look for my dream. That was the ways I saw it. What about you guys? I'm interested to see if like there was like a big turning point for you.
I'll let you answer that, Bobby.
Yeah, I think for me, it wasn't a big turning point.
Mm,
I was going through a lot at the time my mom passed.
yeah.
I had just separated from my previous wife, and was going through like a lot of emotional trauma from that. Being young, being married for a very short time, and trying to navigate what my new life was going to be like without that, because that's never the plan.
Yeah.
And during that time, my mom became like my rock. She was my very best friend, and I talked to her every single day for about an hour. In the mornings, I often stayed with her after school. In the evenings,
Mm,
so losing her, like you said earlier, the routine of getting used to that person not being around is
mm,
difficult itself. After that, I was just going through so much. I think I went down before I started going up. My grieving was very difficult.
yeah.
I self-medicated and self-abused with alcohol a lot, so I went through a very dark time with that.
Mm,
But I think, even though I didn't have like a big turning point where I made new decisions and chased different dreams, I think it's been a slow process of me of kind of like peeling back layers of the onion and
mm,
trying to find who I really am and what I really want to do, what kind of mark I want to leave on the world. Me and my wife, for 3 years now, we've been in a new city. So I was a little bit older when I left home, but just like you, I left home and found new experiences here. And
mm.
that's getting out of my comfort zone pushed me to different levels. And I've been achieving goals that I probably wouldn't have achieved had I stayed back home because I was just very comfortable.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, even with new ventures like this podcast, and I want to get back into music because I've abandoned music for so long.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm getting to who the core of myself is. Like, I'm 33, but I feel like a baby in a sense in a grown man's body because I feel like I'm just beginning. Like my life is not midway there, but it's like I'm brand new. I'm just beginning now, and every day feels like a new start kind of. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that answers your question, but for me it wasn't a big turning point, but it's like a very slow progression up from where I was at my lowest to try and find new heights.
Yeah, I would honestly kind of say the same thing for myself. I was going through a lot at the same time too. My first love, we had broken up a week before that happened, so I was going through a lot too. And like he said, without going into a lot of details, more so just a slow progression up, and rough patches here and there. When I do something, would my mom be proud? And then I ask, don't ask would she be proud because she's not here, so that doesn't really matter. But it's still something in the back of my head that tries to keep me, doing the right thing. So I do like to keep that in the back of my head, but I don't like to dwell on it.
That's really nice to hear your perspectives.
I appreciate that. It's beautiful hearing yours, man. It
Yeah,
definitely it made me think about just things in a different way, just based off of what you said.
yeah.
And to get back into the music,
Yeah.
you talked about like how you like start off with a melody and just hum and do this,
Hmm.
but where did that like I call it like a Michael Jackson style beatboxing. Like I'm not even gonna try to attempt it, but you're beatboxing like when you're playing when you're playing guitar and stuff. Like you're
Yeah.
beatboxing. Like where did that come from? When did you start doing that?
Man, that's hard to know. Like also like a lot of people ask me like when did I start to sing what I could play and these things. I can't really recollect a certain point that I did, but I always was walking on the streets, and if I was stepping, I was like, and at each level it's changed. Like as I was getting better at music, but like even if I'm walking, like I saw rhythm and in my head there was rhythms and there always was something. And I remember, I think maybe the first time was when I went to I met this teacher in Brazil, and they had this exercise that was from Gramani, that is a mathematician that made a lot of exercises for musicians to play in odd times. And it was very simple. It's a combination of one and two. And basically, one is a quarter note, and then two is a eighth note. So it's one, two, one, two, two, one, two, 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 one, two, 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 two.
Oh
And
man,
and you had to do music, and that does a nine pattern. So and I just repeated it and repeated it in my mind because I couldn't get it at that point.
right.
Like I had to do it for a month to internalize it and to be able to do something musical. And after that, like I always vocalized because I saw the importance of. I think we're all kind of afraid, of vocalizing and
Hmm.
of looking like a fool in public, but all the time
Yeah.
like, and I can imagine myself playing congas or some shit like that, and things like that. I think it's super important to like always vocalize outside of your body because it's not the same. It's like when you say a speech inside and then you try to say it and it doesn't come out because you didn't actually said it, kind of like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and even with music, it's like sometimes like I like to rap. So
Mm.
I'll, write a rap and I'll do it and then right when I get to the microphone and I do it, I'm like, "Oh man, that did not turn out how it was supposed to turn out." But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, man, definitely vocalizing and getting stuff out and putting it out into the atmosphere instead of keeping it inside. So
yeah.
but getting close to the end a little bit and to wrap it up, what do you want people to take from this concept album? What do you want people? Do you just want people to listen and enjoy it as a musical piece, or do you want them to feel something?
Yeah, of course I want just people to enjoy. That's the main purpose. But yes, I thought a lot about the purpose of this and what do I want to give you. And basically, I told you what Siricumbia means. So basically, each track is an emotion, and it ends with Siricumbia being the ninth track. And basically, what it means is like it doesn't matter where we're from. Like where how you were grown, and maybe where you're from, what your beliefs are. Like we all feel the same emotions. Like you and me, I think we created a bond just because I talked about my father, and then you said, "Oh shit, my mother died," and that's
Mm-hmm.
a bond between us that I feel really connected to you guys doing this talk.
Yes.
So like this is what I want to do. Like maybe I talk this next song talks about breakup and long distance relationship and about the travel bans and you not being able to see your loved one. So then you say, "Oh shit, I feel the same way. I feel so," and when you do that, you start to want to know about the other person, tolerate and respect their views, and basically what this is about tolerance and respect for other cultures. And this is a way that I thought about it. Like you see an emotion I felt, I open it super purely and as best as I can interpret it, and you feel it too. We connect, and we can, like, I don't know, it doesn't matter what you are, who you are, what you look like it, you felt it and I felt it too, and that connects us.
Yes, 100%. That's what is so beautiful about music is it brings people together. There can
Mm.
be 10,000 people at a festival
Yeah.
and you've never met any of these people, but you feel the energy. You guys are all singing the same lyrics. Maybe let's go with Red Hot Chili Peppers. Maybe they helped you through a breakup and with this song, and but maybe that same song helped someone to love their loved one more. Like, oh my
Mm.
God, this is what I'm gonna feel if I lose you. But you're all singing the lyrics, and it all brings you together. And maybe this person beside you doesn't even know English, but they know this song because that's how
Of course.
powerful music is. And that's also why I love podcasts. One of the reasons that we're doing this podcast for me is I've literally listened to a couple of songs from someone and it wasn't my cup of tea, didn't enjoy it. I just moved
Mm.
on. But then I saw an interview with them and I'm like, whoa,
Mm.
I really like this person.
Mm.
I like their energy. And then I go
Yeah.
back and listen to the music and fell in love with it. So, you know,
That's
that's
insane.
that's what, we want to do here
Mm.
is maybe someone has never heard of you before, but we, upload it and maybe just one person, we're praying to God that they're like, I like I like him, man. He's a cool guy.
Mm.
He's humble. He's funny. Let me go check out his music, and that's what we hope to bring to other people. As people like you bring energy to us and let
Mm.
us learn things.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful.
And also,
And go.
I was gonna say too. I'm gonna try to pronounce a little Portuguese myself. Your song "Gratidão."
Yes, it was
Um,
pretty close.
pretty close. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.
He's
Obrigado.
better than me.
A little
Um,
bit, Nate. Don't get jealous.
not
It's
by much,
okay.
Nate. Well, one thing
No
I
offense
loved about
taken.
that, I speak zero Portuguese. Like I learned a
Mm.
few words just so I could say something to you at the end.
Mm.
But I could feel that you were speaking about gratitude, and just the energy of the song came through as just very grateful. Even though I don't know the topic or the subject matter of the song, I can
Mm.
just tell you're very grateful by singing
Mm.
it, and playing it the way that you play.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I did it in a place where I was with all my idols, and I played that song for Victor Wooten, and it was like 3 days before I had planned what I was gonna play, and then this melody came, and I said I need to play this for them because this is the exact way I feel, and I did it. It wasn't perfect because I was perfection in it, and it was still beautiful. I played it for the whole bass department, and yeah, the it was just insane, that experience. I like imagine for a guy that has no money to be at Berklee, like being able to like it's mind blowing for me to go back and think that I that happened. So
Yeah,
yeah, that was it.
definitely things to be grateful for.
Yes,
And we'll ask you for the link so we can link it down into the
yes.
description for of course, your YouTube. We're gonna get that, but also your GoFundMe. And this is crowdfunding for your upcoming album. And what crowdfunding is, just in case anyone doesn't know, it's to help out a musician that is working on a project, because mixing and mastering, if you don't know, is not cheap, you know, and you have all these artists, you know, and I don't know if they're asking for money or what, but the fact that you're doing all this from the ground up, it costs money. So we're definitely going to donate some, because, you know, we want to support people that we have on here.
Thank you
And
very much.
also, you know, if you can donate $5, $10, however much, that would, I'm sure you'd be very grateful for that.
For sure, everything counts, and I'm really grateful that I can pay this, and I can do this and become a reality, because I want this to be a gift as much as for me, for all of the people that donate, and for all the people that believe in my music, and the ones that will hear it also.
Yeah,
I
definitely. I'm very excited about it.
can't wait,
Yeah.
man. Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, I know
I'm
before
excited too.
we started the recording, you said you were going to release it single by single. When's your first single coming out?
It's the 28th of September. It's Ciela Vai. It's the song about breakup and long distance, and people in the pandemic being long distance and not being able to see their loved ones.
And on what platforms will people be able to
Uh,
experience that?
it's going to be on Bandcamp, on Spotify, on Apple Music, and everything else that you can imagine, YouTube, whatever you guys want. It will be there.
Perfect. Perfect. Any
Awesome.
DSP.
All the places.
Yep.
Yes.
Just go and get it. All right,
Yes.
Choby, beautiful talking to you, man. Is there anything else that you would like to say to friends, fans, family, or someone that may watch this that doesn't know you?
Guys, just hear my music, because it's from my heart. It's actually what I felt, and all of that. And really, I just want to be grateful for you guys. Like, I didn't expect I have this amazing talk and amazing connection with two people I don't know and I just met. So just want to thank you for the podcast, for what you're doing, because it brings joy that people listen to you, and that people care about you, and that you see that there is this thing in the world, and you just need to reach out. So what I want to say to people is, reach out now, because there's no better time. We have nothing else to do but to reach out and help each other out. So thank you so much for letting me be here, and talking about life with you guys.
And thank you, man. I had a great time. My energy levels were a little bit low, to be 100% honest, but I feel like they're rejuvenated. I appreciate that, man. And I hope you have a great night. I wish nothing but the best for you. He asked you to go listen to his music. You're probably still watching this. I don't know why the fuck you are. Go listen to his music. Look, Bobby and I mentioned that we're bassists. No, this man is a bassist. Go listen to him. Thank y'all.
Hey,
Thank you.
one thing I want to bring up before we kill the recording. One thing that you do is like random jams with people on the internet.
Yeah.
That's really
Oh,
cool.
yes.
And I was wondering if you would like to do one at some point.
Do one with you guys?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Of course. I'm super down with it.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I would love it.
Hell yeah, man.
You got me on the spotlight, so then I can't say no, because I look like a dick.
Right? You can't say no right now. You're gonna get off the camera and be like, Bobby, I don't really want to know. But you can't say no right now.
Yeah. It's like, let's cut the recording and then we'll talk. Then.
Right.
All right, man. Obrigado e muito amor.
Muito amor para vocês. Obrigado por tudo.
Mucho gusto.